Select your fighter!
Hang on. Yeah, what?
Goku! Continue! Select a stage! Land of the Kais! This should be a great fight!
Give me a few minutes. What can I say, man? What can I say, guys? Honestly, it's kind of really hard to speak about anything that I really want to say right now. A lot of you may love or hate the things I'm gonna say, but honestly, yes, it's been a long time since I've done a review in any capacity. But I'm doing this just to get this off my chest. I am at the point where I just want to say, and I don't care if you defend anything or even Triple H's booking, but here's the thing. I am done with Triple H's booking. I really am. The way he has been booking everything has just been atrocious. I feel every week I am watching the same damn show every week. Honestly, I mean that. I feel like I'm watching the exact same show every week. I feel like every week I am seeing the same people every week. We barely get to see anyone new on the roster. Every week, Ciampa has a match. Every week we see Nakamura. Every week it's Becky. Every week it's Becky. Every week it's Trish. Every week it's Zoe. Every week it's Maxine. Yeah, I love Maxine in the Alpha Academy, but here's the thing. We are witnessing the same people every single week. Hello, welcome to the chat, Chris. Hello, Sean, welcome to the chat. This is my review of Monday Night Raw, and it's just going to be nothing but me ranting and giving you guys opinions that you guys are probably not going to like. I'm just tired of it, man. I'm just tired of this shit. How in the ever-living hell can someone tell me why Logan Paul gets a SummerSlam match? He gets on the SummerSlam card. Someone please tell me this. Logan Paul, he gets on the SummerSlam card, but not Rhea Ripley and Becky Lynch? What Why? Why does Logan Paul deserve to be on the SummerSlam card, but not Rhea, but not Trish? But not Rhea or Becky. Like, literally, is Triple H lost his damn mind? Your literal women's champion is not gonna be on SummerSlam. Your biggest star on Raw, not going to be on SummerSlam. This is supposed to be the second biggest pay-per-view of the year. This is supposed to be the second biggest pay-per-view of the year, and you're gonna leave two of your biggest stars off the card? Has Triple H lost his damn mind? But here's the thing. Everyone will point and blame Vince McMahon. Everyone loves to use the Vince McMahon excuse. Whenever Triple H does something bad, whenever Triple H makes a terrible booking decision, everyone will say, it was Vince McMahon. He did it. He did it. No. I'm tired of it. I'm tired of listening to everybody blame everything on Vince. He's not there anymore. He doesn't control the company anymore. He's not in charge anymore. Vince is not in charge. Just bloody admit when Triple H does something wrong and stop being bitches about it. Seriously, that's the thing I can't stand. Everyone loves to point the finger at Vince whenever Triple H makes a terrible booking decision. It's stuff like this why I can't watch the show every week. Twitter is just a living nightmare. Cora Jade is literally off Twitter for good. Gone for good off Twitter. She is done with Twitter. And all because of these idiots on frickin' social media. That's why she's gone for good. She's literally confirmed she's gone from Twitter. She's never reactivating her Twitter. She's done for good. She's confirmed it. She's done for good from Twitter. And good for her. I'm glad she did that. Because Twitter is a piece of shit. Twitter's a piece of shit. I don't hate everyone on Twitter. Like, Twitter is supposed to be a place where you can speak your mind out. But here's the thing that really grinds my gears. And this is something I'm pretty sure a lot of people can agree with. Why is it okay for CM Punk to trash WWE and voice his displeasure with how he was booked? But when Sasha Banks does it, Naomi does it, Cora Jade, anybody else, but when anybody else shares their displeasure, voices their opinion, and says that they're not happy, or how they're being booked, everyone on social media freaking attacks them, gets pissed off at them, tells them to stop complaining, stop bitching, stop complaining, and calls them ungrateful, call them selfish bitches, call them crybabies. But yet these same idiots on social media defended CM Punk's whining and complaining when he wasn't happy with how things were going for him. Oh, but when it's CM Punk, it's acceptable. It's acceptable when CM Punk did it. Fans were even okay when Cody Rhodes did the same shit. People were okay with Cody Rhodes doing it too. And now Cody's back in the same company that he criticized. This is what I mean. Like, why is it okay for certain people to voice their displeasure? Why is it okay for certain people to voice their displeasure, but everybody else, they get told to shut the hell up? But they get told to shut the hell up and quit complaining. I know it has nothing to do with Raw, but this is just something I wanted to get off my chest real quick. I'm just so literally done with this whole garbage. It just makes me hate social media so much. And it's a good reason why I don't want to be on it as much as I used to. And besides, And besides, with the garbage that everybody cops nowadays, like, Toni Storm is another one of those people who literally deactivated her Twitter. Cora's not the only person that didn't leave Twitter. Toni Storm once had a Twitter, but she no longer has one. It's just one of these episodes, and again, I know I'm going to be making a lot of people upset, but I swear to God, I feel like I'm watching a rerun every single week. Every single week, Judgment Day speak. Every single week, Seth Rollins. I get it. He's the world champion. He should be on there every week. So that's fine. Seth Rollins should be there every week. He should be there every week. Because, well, he's the champion. The champion needs to be there every week, unlike a certain tribal chief. Unlike a certain tribal chief champion that we've had for the last freaking 3 years! A world champion has to be there every week. I get it if you're in a feud, so you need to be on every week, because, oh, you're in a program, you gotta be there every week. That's fine. That's fine and acceptable. If you're in a feud, you should be there every week. You should be booked for every show because you're in a program. You're in a rivalry. You need to be there to progress the rivalry. But why, when it comes to Monday Night Raw, like with SmackDown, at least SmackDown are using their women. They're not just focusing just on Asuka, Bianca, and Charlotte. They're involving Bayley. They're involving Io. They're getting Bayley and Io involved in the Asuka, Bianca, Charlotte rivalry because, oh, Io's got the briefcase. And let's not forget, Bayley's also got a feud on the side with Shotzi. She's got a feud on the side with Shotzi. How come SmackDown know how to use different people, but Raw continuously does the same old boring shit every week? You mean to tell me you can't give Emma anything to do? You can't find Tegan Nox to do something for her? You can't get her on the show? It's literally 3 hours. You've got no goddamn excuse. It's a literal 3-hour show, and you've only got enough time to use the same people every week. And as I said, I love Maxine. I think her being added to the Alpha Academy has been a great thing for the Alpha Academy. But what's the purpose of this Viking Raiders feud? What's the purpose of this feud? Why are they fighting? What do the Viking Raiders have against Maxine and the Alpha Academy? They have never explained why these guys are fighting. They're just fighting all because Maxine punked Valhalla out during a tag match. That's the only reason they're feuding. It's not like the Viking Raiders or Valhalla have anything against them. Like, it's just like, oh, you guys punked us out, so therefore we're gonna fight you guys. We're gonna fight you guys because you embarrassed us. That's the only reason why they're fighting. And when is this feud gonna end? Is it over now? Is it over now because Maxine won her first match fair and square? Yeah, you would figure if one of their other biggest names gone, Alexa Bliss, you'd think, they'd give Emma, a storyline. They'd give Piper Niven a storyline. Nikki Cross a storyline. Candice LeRae, Indy Hartwell. You would think they'd give all these other girls they have on Raw more airtime. But no, friggin' Trish Stratus has to come back, and she picks up all the TV time. Zoe Stark gets all the TV time. Like, who cares about Zoe Stark? Apparently Vince does, but again, I'm not using him as an excuse in this argument. But all I'm saying is, you would think, you know, they would use more women, considering that they've lost considerable amount of big stars, especially with Alexa being gone. But nah, let's leave Emma in catering. Let's put Indy Hartwell on freaking hiatus. Speaking of Indy Hartwell, and this, again, I just want to say this. People for years have been bitching, complaining, begging WWE to put Indy Hartwell on the main roster because everyone was tired of her being in NXT. She's been in NXT for too long. Put her on the main roster, WWE. We want Indy on Raw and SmackDown. She's been in NXT for too long. She's been in NXT for too long. Stop! Put her on the main roster. She's been in NXT for too long. Yeah, and look what she's doing. Look what she's doing now. Sitting and catering and is now being put on hiatus, all because of Dexter Lumis. All because they can't figure out something to do for Dexter Lumis. Why did she have to be put on the creative burner because of him? Why did she have to be put on the creative burner because of him? Oh, I know why. Because all four of them are a faction. So if you can't figure out one thing for one person of the faction, then you got to completely kick off the other faction. Oh, we got no plans for Dexter. Sorry, Candice. Sorry, Indy. We got nothing for you as well. You guys can just sit on the bench. You guys can sit on the bench alongside Johnny Gargano and Dexter Lumis when you can literally find something for Johnny to do. No excuse. You could easily put Johnny back with Ciampa. No excuse. No excuse. Just put Johnny back with Ciampa. Easy done. Easy done. So easily simple. You can bench Dexter. If you got nothing for Dexter, just bench Dexter. You don't have to bench everybody else just because, oh, we got nothing for Dexter, so therefore Indy, Candice, and Johnny, you are going to get benched as well. It's literally stupid. Indy Hartwell was doing great. Indy Hartwell was doing great in NXT. She was doing great in NXT. She finally became NXT Women's Champion. She finally got to live out a dream she always wanted to be, a champion. And then what happens? She gets pulled up to the main roster while still being the champion and injured. She gets injured and she gets pulled up as the champion, and then she's forced to give up her title all because she got called up. Literally stupid. Literally stupid. I am so sick of the fans saying insert someone needs to be on the main roster. And you see why. And you see why I was so... And now you understand why I was so against Roxanne and Cora Jade being on the main roster. Now you know why I was so against them being called up. They don't need to be called up. Why should they get called up? Because they're ready, that's why. Even if we can agree they are ready, even if we can say, yeah, okay, even if we can agree and say they are ready, it's not about being ready for the main roster. It's not about being ready. It's about having a storyline. It's about having something to do on the main roster. We can argue all we want and say Cora and Roxanne are ready, but if they have no plans for them, if they have no storyline lined up for them when they're called up, they're just going to be in catering. That's why I didn't want Cora and Roxanne called up. Not because they weren't ready for the main roster. Not because I didn't want them on the main roster. It's because of what's happening to Indy Hartwell. She's now on creative hiatus for no reason. All because they can't find a storyline. And now you know why I did not want Indy Hartwell on the main roster. Because at least in NXT, she was actually being booked every week. At least she was actually there. At least she was actually there. At least they actually gave her direction they actually did stuff with her, even if she won or lost a match, at least she was there. And everyone will say, well, she was injured. Of course they couldn't use her. Well, then don't bloody call someone up when they're injured. Why call someone up when they're injured? Seriously. That's another thing that really grinds my gears. If you're going to say she's injured, then don't bloody call her up while she's injured. Alba Fire and Isla Dawn. Same thing with them. They were literally called up to the main roster for no reason. They were literally called up for zero reasons. They were called up as the NXT Women's Tag Team Champions, had maybe about one match, and then they fought Ronda, and then they got buried by Ronda and Shayna, and I'm considering it a burial because we haven't seen them since, and they've been off TV ever since. And I consider that a burial because they have not appeared since then. So basically, they were called up just for the sake of being called up, and once again, are being put on creative hiatus, all because they have no plans to use them. So therefore, they were just called up for the sake of it. Not because they had plans for them, it's because they just wanted to call them up, and they had no plans for them. In my opinion, you should only be called up. In my opinion, you should only be called up if you have plans for that person. That's how it should work. Why call someone up when you're just going to have no plans for them? Aaliyah was in NXT for 6 freaking years before she came up, and look at her now, not being used on TV for months. Exactly. She's another one of those superstars. Oh, I've never seen that move before. She's another one of those superstars that was literally in NXT for so long, and people wanted her on the main roster because of how long she's been in NXT for, and then when she gets called up, she's literally done nothing. Sure, she was Women's Tag Team Champion for like, what, 15 days? But still, she hasn't done anything. It's as I've said, it's a call-up just for the sake of it. It's not because you had plans for these people. And I find it ironic that Vince was the one that had Liv Morgan become champion. Right? I find it ironic that everyone gives Vince a lot of shit. But let's not forget, Vince was the one that gave Liv the Money in the Bank. He was the one that booked her to cash in that contract and defeat Ronda Rousey. And what does Triple H do when he takes over? Books Ronda to win the SmackDown Women's Championship from Liv Morgan. So what does that tell you? That tells me Triple H ain't a Liv Morgan guy. That tells me he ain't a fan of Liv Morgan. He didn't believe Liv Morgan was ready to be a champion. Like, what was the whole point of that? What was the whole point of giving Liv the belt? Just to pass it off to somebody else. Like, seriously, it really irritates me to no end on how terrible things are being booked. Hello, Isabel. How are you? How are you today? So Rhea Ripley has no match at SummerSlam. She had a confrontation with Raquel. It was just a brawl. Raquel's injured, storyline injured. She's got an injured knee, and so therefore Rhea doesn't have a match at SummerSlam, which is completely stupid. Which I think is completely stupid, to have your Women's World Champion to not have a match. It's literally dumb. How are you not gonna have Rhea Ripley not defend her title? Is beyond me. Again, there's no excuse. Like, Becky Lynch for months. Yes, I am glad that Trinity and Mercedes are gone. I feel the same thing would happen to them. I feel the same thing would just be happening to them. Why do you think I want Emma gone? Why do you think I want Emma gone? Because WWE have done nothing with her since they brought her back. She's still technically winless. If we don't count main event, if we don't count her win against Roxanne on main event, and we don't count that one live event match, which personally I don't, main event and live events don't count in my opinion. If we don't count any of those two matches, she is still literally 0 victories on TV. She still literally has 0 victories on TV. Dana Brooke, technically she's been demoted to NXT, so I don't really consider her a Raw superstar anymore. She's technically demoted to NXT. Isn't it funny how she's now getting TV time ever since she got demoted to NXT? Like, she literally couldn't get any screen time on the main roster. But here she is on NXT, not having Becky on the card, putting a stupid MA rules match. No one cares about that. Seriously, this is freaking wrestling! That's another thing I'm really angry about. Ronda and Shayna are literally having a match under MMA rules. They're literally having a match under MMA rules. This is freaking wrestling, not the Octagon. This is not UFC. Why does Ronda and Shayna need to have a match under UFC rules? Just put them in like a fight pit or a steel cage. This is wrestling, not MMA. It's ridiculous. And again, I believe they're trying to make Ronda Rousey the babyface, but fans don't buy into Ronda being a face for obvious reasons. But again, it's so annoying. It's so annoying that Becky and Rhea are missing the show. But yet, Logan Paul gets to make it onto the SummerSlam card and have a one-and-done rivalry with Ricochet that's going to mean nothing in the long run for neither guy. Ricochet needs to defeat Logan Paul. That's all I'm going to say. The only result that matters to me in that match is Ricochet defeating Logan Paul. That's the only thing that matters to me. If Ricochet takes an L to Logan Paul, then Triple H has completely lost his damn mind when it comes to booking things. Seriously. Shayna Baszler is considered the babyface. Well, I don't really consider Shayna Baszler a face either, but I'm not really happy with that. I'm just saying that I wish Becky and Rhea got on the SummerSlam card instead of Logan Paul. But if the match is going to happen, then the only result that matters is Ricochet winning. Becky Lynch versus Trish Stratus should be happening at SummerSlam. All that build-up of Becky getting her rematch with Trish Stratus, all that build-up of having Becky Lynch fight the odds for months and months and months, the match doesn't even happen at SummerSlam. It's absolutely ridiculous. It's absolutely silly. Let's have Ronda and Shayna on SummerSlam. Let's not have Chelsea Green and Sonya Deville, who just became the Women's Tag Team Champions. Nah, let's not have them on the show, because nobody cares about the Women's Tag Team Championships. Nobody gives a flying toss about those things. The only real good thing that I really enjoyed on the show was Gunther and Chad Gable. Gunther and Chad Gable had a really good match. First, it started off as a 5-minute time limit match, because Gunther claimed he could beat Chad Gable in 5 minutes, which he didn't. The timer expired and Gunther lost the match because he couldn't beat Chad Gable in 5 minutes. Then he cracked the shits. Then he cracks it. Then he cracks the shits and says the match is not over, and orders the match to restart. He orders the match to restart because he's not accepting this loss. The match restarts, and the match is good. And Gunther, in the end, does win. But it was a really good match, and it was actually the only real thing I actually really enjoyed. At least it was something different. Even though I literally just said before that I feel like Raw is just a rerun and I'm seeing the exact thing every week, this was the only thing that I felt was different. So Shinsuke Nakamura seems to now be a heel, I guess. It's hard to really say at this point. It's really hard to say at this point. But yeah, anyway, so it sounds like he's a heel now. And he defeats Tommaso Ciampa. He cheats by pulling Ciampa's tights, so I guess Ciampa was slightly protected. I find it funny that ever since Ciampa's come back, he's literally lost 3 matches. He lost to The Miz, he lost to Bronson Reed, and now he's lost to Shinsuke. His whole theme is no one will survive. I guess Ciampa, Shinsuke did survive. Bronson Reed survived, and The Miz survived too. He's literally lost 3 matches in a row since returning. Yes, he did defeat The Miz in his return match, but remember, he was originally booked to accept Seth's open challenge and lose. He was originally going to fight Seth for the World Heavyweight title and lose. So if it wasn't for that being changed, he would literally have 4 losses. He would literally have 4 losses under his belt. Okay. So what else have we got here? We got the Judgment Day. They came out and they did a lot of talking. They were doing a whole bunch of flappy talking. And then the one thing I found funny, the one thing I found incredibly funny about the whole about that whole situation was that the crowd were cheering every member, right? They cheered Finn when he spoke. They cheered Damien when he spoke. The crowd went crazy for Rhea when she was speaking. But then as soon as good old Dirty Dom opens his mouth, everyone starts booing. I will say that was pretty funny. And I love how the Judgment Day are now getting cheers. They went from being booed to now being liked by the audience. So it's like... So now the Judgment Day are starting to get positive reactions. They're starting to get cheered. Now, could that lead down the road into... Now, could that play into anything in the future? You know, personally, I kind of hope so. I kind of would like to see maybe I could maybe see that being effective in the long run. But again, I just thought it was really funny that the Judgment Day are now getting cheered by the fans. But yeah, they didn't really do much. Yeah, but yeah, they didn't really do a whole lot. They had a main event match against Seth Rollins and Sami Zayn in a tag team match, which that led to Sami and Seth winning because Damien tried to cash in. Damien literally tried to cash in his briefcase during the tag team match, and it ultimately backfired on him because Finn hesitated to pass him the briefcase. Again, still showing signs that maybe Finn doesn't want Damien to be the champion, because Finn still wants to win the title. Because Finn still wants to be the guy to win the title from Seth. So again, he doesn't really want Damien to be the one to do it. So maybe that could still lead into something down the road. But it's very, very difficult to really say there. But I did notice that as something to really keep an eye on. As for everything else on the show, I just didn't really care. Ludwig Kaiser of Imperium was able to defeat Matt Riddle, so I guess I can look at that as a bit of a positive. Hope you'll agree with me with this. AEW deserves criticism for their women's division too. They have big stars. They have a big star in Saraya and isn't even booked in All In, her home country. Well, they're not there. Well, they're not there yet. But yes, they do. But yeah, well, they're not at All In yet. But yes, you are correct. They do deserve criticism because they literally had. Let's not forget. Saraya isn't the only big star they've poorly booked. They've really poorly booked Britt Baker. They've really poorly booked Britt Baker as well. Like, they're literally doing nothing with her. Like, they literally had her in a crappy match with Taya Valkyrie, and then you get the entire internet bitching and complaining about the match, saying, oh, it's Britt Baker's fault, the match was terrible. Oh, Britt Baker, you know, she's the reason the match was bad and all that garbage. You know what I mean? Like, people were literally putting all the blame on her instead of Taya Valkyrie, when Taya Valkyrie was the one that dropped her, almost dropped her on her freaking head, almost dropped her on her head, probably could have broken her neck. And the other thing, and I'm glad a lot of people see this, because I commented my thoughts on Toni Storm versus Ashita, and I said that I kind of want this match. I said I kind of want that match to be the setup to where Saraya turns on Toni Storm, which turns Toni Storm face, and then we get Saraya versus Toni Storm in All Out in Wembley. So I feel like that would be a great scenario to end the Outcasts, because Saraya started the Outcasts for her to be the champion, but in the end it's her lackey. It's her lackey who's the champion. So therefore she is probably gonna get jealous that her lackey did the one thing she wanted to do. I know a lot may not agree with that, but I feel like that's really the only direction they can really go. Like, what else can they really do? Like, Jamie Hayter's pretty much gone for the rest of the year. Sure, you could do Athena, who was once Ember Moon. For those who don't know who Athena is, she was once Ember Moon in WWE. Like, yeah, you could do a champion versus champion bout between those two. You could maybe do Sky Blue and Toni Storm as like a little one-off. But really, after that, what can you realistically do after that? The only answer is to eventually set up Toni Storm and Saraya to eventually fight. Like, you've really got nothing else to do after that. There's really nothing left after that. But yes, AEW do deserve criticism for how they've been booking their women's division as well. Impact Wrestling, on the other hand, don't deserve that criticism because they're actually booking all their women. They're booking their women's division great. They've made Trinity, who was once known as Naomi in WWE, their champion. Her and Deonna Purrazzo are going to have a rematch. Their tag team champions are actually being booked. Their tag team champions are being consistently booked. And they're actually giving everybody a storyline. And they're giving everybody a storyline over there. Ring of Honor is technically a part of AEW, so I don't really know what they're really doing. So I guess they technically can be blamed for what's going on as well. But all I'm saying is, at least, like, I feel Impact is the only company that's really booking their women's division, you know, to perfection and actually giving everybody a go. Because that's the thing, that's my problem with WWE. Like, they don't give everybody a go. They don't rotate. They don't give everyone a go. Even if you want to make the argument and say, well, they've got a pay-per-view coming up, so it's kind of hard to give Emma and Tegan and Candice and Indy something to do, which that is completely inaccurate. You can still book them on the show. You can have like Cody and Brock in a segment. You could have Becky Lynch in a segment. Like literally the people who you're booking for SummerSlam, you could just put them in segments. You can have them. You can put them in segments. You can have them in like a little short. You can have them in segments. You know what I mean? Like you can still give Indy and all them something to do while having your big stars who are building up to SummerSlam in segments. So yes, you technically can still book them to do something on your show. You are just being lazy. Only 2 women's matches on the second biggest show of the year. Stupid, I know. Becky and Trish should be on there, and so should Rhea. I'm just gonna say it. Trish and Becky should be there. And so should Rhea. She should be there too. It's ridiculous. Raw just didn't do a whole lot for me. And the other thing that they literally had Shayna and Ronda had like a 2-parter video package, which personally I didn't care about. Rhea versus Raquel still could be announced on SmackDown. Well, I highly doubt it because Adam Pearce basically said he is not. He basically said, oh, he'll only give Raquel her match until she's cleared. And why would they announce it on SmackDown? It's a Raw title. Why would they announce it on SmackDown? It's a Raw title. It has nothing to do with SmackDown. It has nothing to do with SmackDown. And Raquel's injured. Adam Pearce literally said, he literally told Raquel he will give her Rhea until she's cleared. That's literally what he said. So I don't think they're going to announce it on SmackDown. I think they're probably going to save it for like Payback or something. And the other thing I'm getting so tired of WWE doing is constantly naming each match as a main event match. So for example, they announced Cody Rhodes versus Brock Lesnar as one of the main events for SummerSlam. Then they say Jay versus Roman for the undisputed title is one of the main events. And then they say Charlotte versus Asuka versus Bianca is also one of the main events. Can they literally like? Can WWE stop with these multiple main events? Like I literally just get so annoyed at them constantly naming a match as a main event. There's only one main event. There should only be one main event, not 500 main events. There should only be one main event, not 3, not 2, not 1. Well, yes, one main event. There should not be 2, 3, 4, 5, 10, 20 main events. There should only be one main event. And that one main event is Roman Reigns versus Jey Uso. That's the only main event. And I don't know why they're doing this ridiculous battle royal. One of the things I don't understand is why are they doing some silly SummerSlam battle royal? Is this just an excuse just to get everyone on the card? Is that what it is? Is it just some lame ass excuse to get everyone on the card? So you're like, oh, let's just do a random battle royal. We need to get LA Knight on the card, so the best course of action is just to do a main event, to do a battle royal. Yeah, that's how we can get LA Knight on the card. They do it to draw interest in the show. It's for advertising purposes. Well, I don't. Well, it doesn't mean I have to agree with it. Well, the thing is, I don't have to agree with that notion. They don't need to do a battle royal. Put the battle royal on the pre-show, then put Becky and Trish on the card. Like, the pre-show just serves absolutely no purpose. That's really all I'm gonna say. That really serves no purpose whatsoever. Like, why isn't Santos Escobar and Austin Theory on SummerSlam? That's another match. Why isn't that on SummerSlam? Like, you literally been building up to this whole Austin Theory US Championship Invitational tournament. Invitational. And then just to be all like, nah, we're not going to put this on SummerSlam. We're going to put this on SmackDown. Like, yeah, it's Austin Theory and no one cares about the guy, but I mean, at least give Santos his moment. At least give Santos his moment at SummerSlam. At least have him dethrone Theory at SummerSlam. You know what I'm saying? At least give him his big moment at SummerSlam by defeating Theory then. It'll be a much more bigger impact if he was able to defeat Theory on the second biggest show of the year. But no, but no, they're probably going to have him win. They're going to have him win on a random episode of SmackDown. It just makes no sense to me. Does it feel like Gunther is losing his IC title to Drew McIntyre? You know, maybe. Maybe it does. It's kind of hard to really say. Like, sure, Drew McIntyre, you can argue and say, well, Drew McIntyre is definitely Gunther's biggest threat so far for the title, which I agree, he is. But I still think Gunther's gonna retain. I still think he will retain. I could very well be wrong, but I still think he will beat Drew. And one other thing I've definitely noticed is Gunther's been talking a lot more than he used to. He used to be the silent giant. For a while he was just a silent giant who didn't say much. And it was always Ludwig. They always had like Ludwig do all the talking for him, but Gunther has definitely been talking a lot more now than he's done in the past. They have Theory pass Moxley. I don't think they will, because like I said, I feel Santos Escobar is going to beat Theory for the title. At least I hope so, anyway. There's so many problems that I can really talk about with Raw. They literally, again, not having Becky Lynch on SummerSlam is really stupid. And imagine being there. Imagine being at the show, thinking that, oh, there's going to be certain matches on the card. Like, what if you're excited for a certain match to be on the card, but then that match doesn't end up on the card at all? You would feel shafted. Oh, triple combo! You would feel shafted. Imagine being promised Becky versus Trish, but then it doesn't happen. But instead they tease it on Raw, or they have it happen on Raw, and then the match lasts literally 5 seconds. I think their match beat Aaliyah. I think their match I feel like their match probably surpassed Aaliyah's record as the fastest match in wrestling. In wrestling, it ended in literal seconds. The bell rang, Becky threw a punch, Zoe gets in, and then the bell rings again. That's the entire match. That was the full match of Becky versus Trish. I literally just told you the full match from start to finish. Bell rung, Becky threw a punch, Zoe gets in the ring, and then attacks Becky. That was the entire match from start to finish. That was the entire match from start to finish. so silly. The match. They literally could have. And the other thing I want WWE to stop, and they're not going to stop because they don't give a shit. One other thing I want them to stop doing is rehashing the bloodline stuff on Raw. Why do we need to sit through this? Why do we need to see what Roman did, huh? Why do we need to see what Roman did to Jay when we literally saw it on SmackDown? We saw it all on SmackDown. We don't need a reminder. We don't need to be reminded. We don't need to be reminded. That stuff is on SmackDown. So leave it on SmackDown, for God's sake. They did the same thing with Brock and Cody like the other week on SmackDown. They did the same thing for them the other week. They literally had SmackDown show what happened to Cody when Brock Lesnar beat him up in front of his home country, in front of his home crowd. Like, SmackDown literally showed that, and I was like, why do we need to see this? I was like, why did we need to see that? We didn't need to see it. We already saw it happen. Like, I understand recapping. Like, I get what it's supposed. I get its purpose, but man, it just gets so annoying when they recap something that people literally saw. Like, how many times did they recap the Brock Lesnar Cody thing from Raw today? It felt like 2 to 3 times they showed exactly what happened between Cody and Brock. And I'm like, we get it. We saw what happened. We don't need to be reminded. Do you want to know what my parents used to say to me years ago when I complained about that years ago? They said, oh, they do that just in case if people are tuning in, the people who missed the show tune in and they see what happens. Like, okay, I understand that. That could be a fair assumption. But what if you've been watching it from the start? But what if you were there from the very beginning? You woke up perfectly on time to watch the show from start to finish, and they recap it over and over and over again. You as a viewer who've been there from the start of the show will just get annoyed because you're like, yeah, we get it, we saw it. Like, yeah, okay, we get it, we saw the match. Like, we saw what happened. Like, we don't need to be reminded. So we had Maxine Dupree have her first singles match ever, and she was able to defeat Sarah Logan Valhalla, or as what other people like to call her, KFC Logan. So, I mean, I don't mind Maxine. I think she's definitely... They've got her on TV because they want her to improve as a wrestler, which is fine. I like Maxine with Alpha Academy. I think it's been one of the best decisions Triple H has done so far. If I had to tell you some of the good things he's done, definitely putting Maxine with Alpha Academy and turning Alpha Academy face has definitely been one of the highlights for me for what he has done. I feel the Alpha Academy deserve another tag team title reign, I feel. Gunther, I like how he's been booking Gunther as a serious, threatening champion. Like Gunther's like the total opposite of Austin Theory. A heel champion that is actually not going to back down from anyone. Like, that's Gunther. Like that's Gunther. Like, he's the total opposite to Austin Theory. He's a champion who will actually be there every week and actually get booked like a serious threat. Becky should have. I think should have is what you were trying to say. Should have had a shirt matches where we know she's capable of having bangers. Short. I think you mean should have. Should or something. Well, I mean, the Brawling Brutes kind of do that. I mean, the Brawling Brutes are kind of that. They have a shirt where it says banger after banger after banger. And I love how Chelsea Green and Sonya Deville have been booked since becoming the champions. Like, they've literally won the titles, lost on SmackDown to Charlotte and Bianca, and then their second week, they were not booked at all. You mean to tell me they couldn't? You mean to tell me, Triple H, that you could not get them to have a match with Candice and Indy, or even Katana Chance and Kaden Carter? Like, seriously, come on, man. Like, seriously, come on, man. Like you waste everybody's times at these nonsense promo packages and nonsense matches and senseless segments that people don't care about. But yet, again, it's a 3-hour show, and you're telling me that you could not spare at least 10 minutes? So Sonya and Chelsea could probably have a match of like Candice and Indy, or Katana Chance and Kaden Carter. Like, goodness gracious! I know I know they don't care about the tag team titles, and they're clearly making that very, very blatantly obvious. And one other thing is that Matt Cardona, or Zack Ryder as people know him as from WWE, literally was at a show and he was literally carrying around Chelsea's title. Like, no joke, he was literally carrying around her title at some kind of show. So silly. At least we haven't seen The Miz in 2 weeks. I call that a positive. Not seeing Miz since winning his first match is kind of bizarre. I will say that. Seeing The Miz after not seeing Miz for a few weeks after him winning his first match is kind of bizarre. You would think they'd have him on every week bragging that he finally won a match. But hey, yeah, I guess that is a bit of a positive, you know, no Miz. I guess that can be considered a positive in a way. So what else? I mean, I kind of like blocked most of the stuff that happened on Raw out of my mind because I just didn't seem to, I don't really care. And now I'm trying to remember everything else that took place. Well, personally, it was a really bad show. Me personally, it was a bad show. Another thing I want to mention is, I guess I can quickly talk about it because I looked at a few things that happened on that show, was Great American Bash, the NXT show. Personally, I didn't care for it, which is why I didn't watch it. And I guess I had a good reason not to watch it, because seriously, with the stuff that I saw, like, why? Like, here's the thing. If you're gonna have Kurt Angle 2.0, Gable Steveson, have his first match against Baron Corbin, and secondly, you know both guys couldn't afford to lose the match. So what do? Pair them against each other, but give them a double DQ to protect both guys. Really, really, really stupid, if you ask me. If you really wanted both guys to win, to not lose, you shouldn't have just booked them against each other. Tiffany Stratton is awful. She's a terrible champion. I just want to say that right now. She's a terrible NXT Women's Champion. How could we go from a great champion like Indy Hartwell to a terrible booked champion like Tiffany Stratton, man? It's so bad. She's tapped out 3 times to Thea Hale. She went from tapping out to Thea Hale 3 consecutive weeks in a row to basically beating Thea Hale by Andre Chase throwing in the towel. That's basically how she won. She didn't even make Thea Hale tap. Andre Chase basically gave up for her. He couldn't stand seeing her punished, and he threw in the towel for her. Like, why would Andre Chase do that? Like, that's very, very unlike Andre Chase. That's not a very Andre Chase thing for him to do. We went from Mandy to Roxanne to Indy to Tiffany. Yeah, we had three back-to-back great champions, with Mandy Rose to Roxanne, who was a decent champion, to Indy Hartwell, to where her title reign could have been memorable but never got started because she got called up. To now we go to quite possibly the worst NXT Women's Champion of all time in Tiffany Stratton. This woman has not successfully defended her title clean once, but yet they want to keep her as champion. And then you've got Blair Davenport and Roxanne Perez, which personally I knew Blair was going to lose that match because A, Roxanne's family was there, her mum and sister was there, so that was clearly one of the obvious reasons why she was going to win, and possibly the only reason why she was going to win. Do you think they were going to have her lose in front of her mum and in front of her mum and her sister? Hell no. Absolutely not. If you think that, then you're out of your mind. If you thought that, then you're completely out of your mind. And they were not going to have Roxanne lose in front of her sister and her mum. And they were also in her hometown. So, yeah, being in her hometown might have been somewhat, but yeah, being in her hometown, oh yeah, we have history of people losing in their hometowns. But I felt it just wasn't going to happen for Roxanne. I just knew it wasn't going to happen for Roxanne. Because it's Roxanne. She's Shawn Michaels' golden girl. She's Shawn Michaels' golden girl. He's going to protect her. He's going to protect her. He's going to book her well. He's going to book her well, and he's going to protect her. And secondly, Roxanne's been getting aggressive as of late. Why do the whole aggressive? Why all of a sudden give her an aggressive mean streak just for her to lose? Though I will say this, that I'm going to complain about Blair Davenport losing, but I will say this. I do want Blair Davenport to be booked like a monster. Though I agree that I feel Blair should have won the match, because I want her to be booked like that dominant heel monster. So that's one other thing I wanted to bring. That's one other thing I wanted to literally bring up. Though I did want Blair Davenport to win, I just knew she was going to lose because of obvious reasons. But secondly, I want Blair Davenport to be booked like that heel monster. Blair Davenport has so much potential to be one of the next biggest monster heels. Like, she has a lot of potential to be a monster heel and to be deadly and dangerous, and I think and her being booked to win would have definitely solidified that. And that's why I'm kind of sad she lost, but I also knew she was going to lose. And I thought, like, well, Shawn Michaels has possibly his next biggest monster heel right in front of him, but yet he has her lose clean and convincingly. Like that. some people think it's not going to hurt Blair very much, but you know, that's just all the people that believe in Shawn Michaels' booking, and they don't think, oh, Shawn Michaels isn't the burying type. Well, if you look at how he's been booking Cora Jade lately, then I feel like maybe you change your mind. But at the end of the day, I did want Blair Davenport to win, mainly because I wanted her to be the monster heel that I know she can be. But I also figured she was going to lose to Roxanne. And yes, what you said, Tony D'Angelo and Stax becoming the tag team champions, awesome. That's great. I'm glad they did become champions. It made total sense. It made total sense with the whole storyline that they were telling. Yes, it made total sense with the whole storyline they were telling. So, I'm just going to say, if they had them lose, then that whole storyline would have just been pointless. That whole storyline would have been pointless if the heels ultimately ended up winning. So they did do the right thing there. Having Noam Dar's little faction lose to... Now, I think it was Nathan Fraser I think they lost to. I only know the girls, Yulisa and Valentina. So I'm glad they won, because I'm a big fan of them. I think they've got a lot of potential. So, nice to see that they got a win. Nice to see that they got a win there, so... And I'm honestly shocked to see Triple H actually using them, because he hasn't been... Shawn Michaels, I meant. I'm actually surprised that Shawn Michaels is actually using them, considering he's been using them as enhancement talent for the longest time on NXT. So it's nice to see that he's actually finally giving them the chance to, you know, showcase their talent, at least. And good old Dom Dom still being North American champion is really damn pathetic. I don't get why Shawn Michaels is okay with someone like Dominic Mysterio running around carrying his title. I get, and that's kind of why I hate seeing main roster people on NXT. I mean, you know what I mean? I've been I get it for ratings, like what they did for Seth. But here's the thing. Why would you risk having a main roster star running around with one of your brand's titles? And this wasn't the only time they did it. They literally had Dolph Ziggler do the same thing literally last year. They literally had Dolph Ziggler do the same thing. I just don't get why Shawn Michaels is just gonna be okay with that. It just doesn't make any sense to me. It just absolutely makes no sense to me. And obviously I don't care for Carmelo Hayes. I mean, sure, Ilya Dragunov is a good wrestler, but I don't know what it is. I just don't know what it is about. I don't know what it is. I just can't seem to connect with him. Yeah, he's a good wrestler, but I just can't seem to connect with that guy. I get what people see in him, and he's a great wrestler, but I just can't seem to really get behind him as many other people think. As other people see in him. So, yeah, it's just one of those situations. He's just in one of those situations. Oh, well, I better charge my phone real quick. Give me a sec. I just noticed my phone was just about to die. It was literally on one battery. So I better... If I'm going to continue reviewing a bit longer, I better charge it up. Oh, really? Really, Cable? You're just going to fall out? I love this Cable. And clearly I'm being sarcastic. Yes, I did think Roxanne would lose. Yes, her family was there, but they literally had Cody get beat up in front of his mum. Yeah, but that's different. That's different to Cody. That's different to Roxanne. Roxanne was having a match. If they wanted, sure, Blair made Roxanne's sister cry, and a lot of people will say, oh, that's good heel heat. And a lot of people say, oh, that's really good heel heat, because she's literally made Roxanne's sister cry. And a lot of people compared it to when Sasha Banks made that one girl cry when she was wrestling Bayley in NXT. Like I get that, I get people's point of view in that, but I just knew Blair was losing because it didn't matter if her family was there or not. I just felt it was so obvious she was going to lose because she won the first time. And that's the other thing that I really, really don't like about WWE overall, that they always 50-50 book things. They always have to be like, one person wins the first match, and then they got to have the other person win the other time. And they got to have the other person win the second round. Like, at least when, like, Vince at least had Cody win 3 consecutive matches in a row against Seth Rollins. Like, he didn't 50-50 book their entire feud. He didn't 50-50 book their feud. He didn't have Cody win at Mania, Seth win at Mania Backlash, and then the third and decisive match inside Hell in a Cell. Like, he literally had Cody beat Seth clean 3 times in a row. Why are people against one-sided feuds? I'll never understand why people are so against one-sided feuds. Like, if you wanted to make Blair Davenport look like a monster, you could have had her destroy Roxanne in front of her family. But no, because Blair won the first time, you know, Roxanne's got to even it out. Like, Roxanne's got to even it out now and get that second win. I just don't like that. I just don't like it. I just don't like 50-50 booking. It just gets super annoying after a while. I'm surprised they didn't 50-50 Buddy and Alistair. I think Buddy Murphy said it himself. I think I heard Buddy say himself, I think they were going to 50-50 his feud. I think he straight up said that he wants Alistair to beat him every time. And he says when he wants to beat Alistair, he says he wants it to be at like a big show, like a WrestleMania or something. Like he wanted it to be like a big deal when he did eventually win. And I agree, like sometimes like you gotta, sometimes, you know, sometimes 50-50, sometimes not 50-50 booking is actually, you know, a smart decision. Let's look at my universe mode, for example. What was one of the biggest things I did in universe mode? Indy Hartwell and Brie Bella. What was their whole story? Brie Bella always had victories over Indy Hartwell. No matter how hard Indy tried, she would always come up short against Brie, because Brie's the veteran. She'd always find a way to win. But then when Indy got that when Indy finally got that win over Brie, it felt important. It felt important, and it felt special because she finally was able to overcome and defeat the one person that many people said she could never beat. And that is something I'm fine with. I'm fine with eventually giving that one person their big win. Like, that's one of the biggest examples for my universe mode that I can give you for why I am okay with not everything being 50-50 booked. Because there are some rivalries, Like, I'm okay with some rivalries being 50-50 booked, but but to me, I more look at it as, if you're trying to make someone a big deal, then you shouldn't 50-50 book it. Like how I felt with Blair Davenport. I felt they didn't need to 50-50 book her feud with Roxanne, because I felt they could have made Blair a real big deal by having her clean sweep Roxanne in her rivalry. What? So basically, it's basically going to be the same thing. I think that's how they should do it with Charlotte and Alexa. Yeah, because Charlotte and Alexa is the same thing. Like, Charlotte has a 100% win rate over Alexa. Yeah, because Charlotte has a 100% win rate over Charlotte Flair. Charlotte has a 100% win rate over Alexa. Because having a 100% win rate over someone is good, because when that person eventually meets that person that they can't beat, they're going to become more determined than ever to finally beat that person. Just constantly 50-50 booking everybody just doesn't make the feuds compelling. It doesn't make the feuds compelling. It doesn't make it... Why do you think I hated that Roman was undefeated for so long? Because you just knew he was going to win. And his first loss happened when his title wasn't even on the line. Sure, it still came off as a big deal that Roman finally lost, but I personally felt his first loss should have happened when he lost the title. And I will stand by that. I felt his first loss should have happened when he lost the title. But no, he didn't. But no. They just, for some reason, felt Jey Uso should just beat him in a random-ass tag team match at Money in the Bank. Yeah, so obviously there's a reason why I shut off the voices, because I didn't want the voices to just constantly distract me from talking. That's why I've just got the music. That's why I've just got the music in the background going. If you guys clearly couldn't figure that out. But overall, guys, yeah, I didn't really enjoy Raw for obvious reasons, and as I said, it feels like a rerun. It feels like I'm watching the exact same thing every week. The only thing that felt different to me was Gunther and Chad Gable. That was really the only thing that felt different, and I'm really, really, really sick of how WWE continuously screw up the women's division by booking them so terribly, by having people who should be on the SummerSlam card not even be there. It's really, really irritating. So, there's really nothing else I don't think I can really add. There's really nothing else I can really add. And if you guys like the new way, and if you guys want me to do more reviews, this is probably the way I'm gonna have to do it until I eventually get my laptop fixed. If you like the idea of me just streaming a game while I'm reviewing a show, if you like that idea, then If you like that idea, then maybe I'll do it a bit more often until my computer's all sorted. But until then, I don't really know what else to really add to what has been quite a bit of an atrocious episode of Raw. So, since my phone's basically dying at this point, I think it's best to let the boy charge, let it rest, and call it a day. Anyway, guys, thank you so much for tuning in for this review. If you guys want to see more reviews like this, where I stream and just play a game while I'm reviewing, then maybe I'll consider doing more of these in the future. So, thank you all so much for tuning in, and I will see you all next time.